Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our fans around the world and across this great country of ours. This is another edition of Focus with Ron Frierson. I'm your host, Ron Frierson. To my left is my brother, Mr. Woody Wilson. Say hi to the people, Woody.
What's going on, everybody? It's good to be back in L.A.
Oh,
out there in Chi-Town.
Hey, listen, I almost didn't make it here on time. You guys may notice that we started a little late today. Is blame it on L.A. traffic. L.A. traffic is getting worse and worse. And worse.
Yeah, you guys need to move back home.
And people out here can't drive either, but those of us that live in Los Angeles, we've come to accept that. Hey, thanks again for joining us, guys. We have a lot going on, and we're going to skip around quite a bit, but like I normally do, I start the show with my rant, so to speak. And basically, these times are extremely tedious. They're very tedious times. We're sitting on a lot of uncertainty at the global level, on a global scale, I should say. No, none of the two presidential candidates are very popular. And then we had the Commander-in-Chief Forum on MSNBC a night or two ago. And during this forum, it gave both candidates a chance to speak to former military and try to pass the bar on why they think they would be the best commander-in-chief in leading our armed forces and what they would do about our threats abroad and things of that sort. Now, the thing about this is that, for one, neither candidate came out and thanked the soldiers, one. And maybe they just had a lot of things going on in their heads trying to prepare for what was going to come and things of that sort. But it would have been nice if they would have thanked the soldiers for their service. But secondly, it just appeared to me that there was a very clear contrast between the two. What we had, and I don't know if it speaks to us as a culture, but what we had was the Republican presidential candidate, Donald Trump, openly lauding praise on the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, which seemed so surreal and he even did it to the detriment of our current sitting president, Mr. Barack Obama. And I can't think of anything that's more uncouth, anything that's less presidential than for you running for the highest office of the land, wanting to join that small club of the past 44 presidents because you want to be the 45th president, and you want to join that club of the people who have served as the president of the United States. And in doing so, you applaud the tyrannical rule of basically a dictator over in Russia, and at the same time put down your own country's leader. I've never heard of it before. I've never heard of anything like that happening before. I don't think people quite realize how ignorant that is. How it just does not speak to anyone that should be holding elected office when you can speak so lowly against your own president and then so highly against your chief rival, and he is a chief rival of ours. Russia wants to be what they once were. They want to be what they were when it's the Soviet Union, meaning they wanted to have two major superpowers on the planet. They felt that balance was good for them. They felt that it was when you had on one polar opposite, you had the United States, and on the other side of the superpower spectrum, you had the USSR. This is the way the world should go. And they, through Vladimir Putin, who's former KGB, they want to get back to that stance. And so they're doing things within their region to flex their muscles, to show the world that they are a superpower and they're not to be trifled with. And with the rise of China, they're probably feeling a little more insecure. So, and with the falling oil prices, they probably feel a little more insecure. So what Vladimir Putin tries to do is he's the strong man. Another strong man is Donald Trump. it's just crazy. I never thought in my lifetime I would see something like this. Do you have any thoughts on that, Woody?
Well, yeah. I mean, we never thought the race would be, brought to such a low in terms of our standards and how we grade the politicians that are running today. I mean, Donald Trump has brought in this race to a whole new low. What he did is not surprising. I mean, he's praised Putin for some time now, and folks, you really have to pay attention to what's going on here.
Pay attention,
because if you don't, sure, Donald Trump makes empty promises. Some of the things he says, may hit home with you. Mm-hmm. And I think each politician has a certain group of policies and things they like to enact that maybe may hit home with you. Mm-hmm. But you really have to evaluate the leader of the free world. I mean, we're not talking about, what we are talking about is someone who carries the most power on the planet. Mm-hmm. And who is very influential when it comes to other countries and nations. And if you want Donald Trump to be that guy who just spouts off at the mouth anything that comes to his mind, who would potentially insult another country, if he thinks he's going to join forces with Putin, with Vladimir Putin, he's just that sadly mistaken. That's not gonna happen.
That's not going to happen. But the point is, and I agree with you completely. It's not even so much that he says it. It's weird. Let's just say that for whatever reason that he admired the hold that Vladimir Putin has on that entire massive country, because it is a massive country. The western part of Russia looks a lot like Eastern Europe, and the far eastern part of the country looks like China. I mean, it's such a huge landmass, and for one man to have that much control over that type of superpower, that's something. That's a lesson in macro management, so to speak. I don't know, but for him to vocalize it and to put down his own president as he's doing this, that's crazy.
Well, it's very disrespectful. I mean, I was taught, and I'm sure we all were, to respect the president of the United States. Anyone who holds an office of such, who was voted in by the American public. It's not like he got the job out of default or something of that nature. He was voted in for 2 terms.
Exactly.
And you have to respect, America and the voters who voted him in. I mean, when you talk poorly about the president who has a high approval rating, very high approval, what is it, 56% approval rating or higher?
I think it's 51, but still, that's great.
It's a great approval rating, and he's done to this country what was thought or deemed to be the impossible. He saved us 4.9% unemployment. They saved the automotive industry. He got Osama bin Laden. There's just success story after success story. You've got to hold some respect in regards to this guy. And
let's just put this in that same seat. Let's say it wasn't President Obama who's done all the great things that you've spoken about, but let's just say that it's President George W. Bush. Let's just pretend it was George W. Bush. It would still be wrong for any presidential candidate to speak so highly about one of our foreign adversaries and then in turn speak
and dog out the current president.
And dog out the current president. It's like he wants, if he feels that much adoration for Putin, maybe he should just move to Russia. It's just so blatantly disrespectful. And I think that Putin's a smart man. One thing that Donald Trump may be underestimating is the fact that Putin is former head of KGB. He's in this despite our administrations, which come and go in 4 or 8 years. He can still be in power. As a matter of fact, when he appointed another president, he still wielded the power, but just put the illusion of transferring power onto the
someone
other.
else, right?
Yeah. So he will play Trump like a fool.
He's playing Trump like a fool. He's also trying to play America like a fool by buzzing our Navy warships and our planes in sovereign territory, trying to make Obama look weak, and then and kind of enforce Trump's policy and what he stands for in terms of being tough. So
yeah. So all in all, this is something. And I saw something. I think I found the clip of it too, and I wanna play this. And this is just a brief clip. And I don't know if Jarvis, do you have that clip of Benito Mussolini? It's in black and white. Now, Woody knows that I am very much so a history buff, and I always have been, and I get that from my grandfather and my dad. We've always been huge history buffs. And there was a personality back during World War II, the leader who was a tyrant and a dictator of Italy, and he was a part of the Axis powers, Benito Mussolini, who was eventually killed by his own people. But a lot of historians kind of compare. We'll never let Donald Trump get that type of power. But a lot of people compare his cult of personality to what Donald Trump has done, meaning that he has ardent supporters that no matter what he does, whether or not it makes any sense, they would still go for him. And he was very brash and he's very a big personality like Trump. As a matter of fact, some of his mannerisms are similar to Trump's. It's almost as if Donald Trump has been studying Benito Mussolini. Play that clip for me real quick. It's a very brief clip, and it's in Italian. I know we can't understand it, but check it out, and check out some of the hand gestures.
Saluto al Duce! Tenere, voi avete l'onore e il privilegio di ospitare nel vostro mare le forze navali dell'Italia fascista. Questo è un privilegio che vi impone dei particolari doveri. Noi fummo grandi quando dominammo il mare. Roma.
Did you notice that? Did you notice the little hand gestures that he put forth?
Yeah.
And the kind of bluster, and it's eerie. And, you know, I think I may have mentioned this once before on the show, and it's so crazy, but it's true. I'm very superstitious, and this is a little bit on a tangent, but I said I would never vote for a person who wasn't clearly born in the United States for president or for higher office. And
well, you can't run for office unless you're in the United States.
But I put it like this. This is why I say that, because when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor of California, they're saying that he may be able to run for president one day before all this stuff came about. And I was saying, well, I wouldn't vote for him anyway. But one of the reasons why is my superstition. And not to equate all of these people. Some of these people are tyrants. Most of them are tyrants, but it's just my own personal superstition. That's all it is. I'm not putting Arnold Schwarzenegger in the same class as these other ones. It's just my superstition will not allow for me to vote for him. And that superstition is this. Alexander the Great was, who's Greek, Hellenic, warrior, conquered most of Europe. Okay. He wasn't born in Greece. He was born in Macedonia. And everybody equates him because he led the Greeks. Okay. Even Hitler, who's German, this and the other, he was actually born in Austria, not Germany. Okay. And if you look at most of the tyrants, Napoleon, who fought for France, he was actually born in Corsica. He wasn't French, he was Corsican. It's like all of these ultra-nationalistic big personalities that tried to conquer the world, this and the other, they were never born in that same country. So that's just a little side note. But I think that Donald Trump probably studies Benito Mussolini.
You think so?
I think
he did have a few of those mannerisms.
The hand gestures, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw
they're probably related somehow.
If I saw Trump's nightstand and I saw an autobiography or a book on Mussolini, I would not be surprised whatsoever.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised either. I don't know where this guy's come from, but yeah, we need to.
So, what do you think about more of this stuff in regards to Hillary's email? Your mic okay over there?
I don't know. I have mic problems. You know what? I don't know if I'm so tired of hearing about these emails. I really am.
Yeah, I am too.
The FBI has cleared her. Let's move on. They have nothing else, so they're grasping for straws right now. So I'm just getting tired of it.
I think so too. I think they're trying to make something big that's not really big. They're trying to keep the story alive, just so they can maintain some false sense of equality and covering both of the candidates in the same light. I don't know how many times you can say that I was wrong for, doing having a private email server. I don't know how many ways you can say it. I don't know how many ways you can say I wouldn't do it again. It's like they just keep wanting to keep the story alive.
Well, they have nothing else to go on. They have nothing else. I mean, that's all they have.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they're beating this thing into the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not going to win over any new voters with this whole email conspiracy.
No.
She made a mistake. She sent out emails. Somewhere there's a C at the bottom of the page in parentheses. Those
Mm-hmm.
were top secret. She didn't know that, apparently. Who cares?
Exactly.
The bottom line is nothing was leaked. There was no nefarious, information to be leaked, or there was nothing going on that was, was a cause for her to be, put under this spotlight like this for this long. I mean, I understand there needed to be an investigation.
Mm-hmm.
There was. She was cleared. Let's move on.
Exactly. I'm with you right there. I think this is one of the few times that me and you are in complete agreement that this is a non-story.
Yeah, but I don't agree with you.
You usually try not to. You purposely try not to agree, which is fine. I kind of like that. But
I don't agree that we agree, okay?
Yeah, oh, my God. Okay. So President Obama went over to Asia to have some meetings. I understand that the Filipino prime minister or president, I can't remember his title, called President Obama a son of a bitch. And
why?
I don't know. I mean, some of these foreign leaders
call him a son of a bitch.
Yeah, he said President Obama was a SOB or something like that. He's probably upset about something. Obama, I don't know.
I mean, what do we do? You said the Philippines. What do we do to the Philippines?
I don't know. I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, I haven't read or heard.
But President Obama said now he's not going to meet with them. And,
okay, good.
Yeah, which is good.
Why should he?
Yeah, and everyone knows that President Obama is making a shift from our current focus in the Middle East. For the most part, he's making a shift to Asia, and he's tried to do that during the course of his, in regards to trade relationships.
Right.
In the course of his administration, he's trying to make a shift to Asia because, I guess in the next 20 or so years, 4 of the 5 largest economies will be in Asia.
Yeah, well, they may not be in Asia if we don't get on top of this nuclear program in North Korea.
Good point.
He just
good point. Very good point.
He just tested and blew.
I wonder why
detonated an atomic bomb the size of Hiroshima.
Now I understand why China is an ally to North Korea, and I understand their interest in keeping Kim Jong-il in power.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's to be a buffer state between South Korea and China.
So you understand keeping him in. Well, yeah, I agree with you. Well, see, we don't want to have the same situation we did in the Middle East when we took Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
To destabilize the whole area.
Yeah, well, what I think is more so that I don't think we're going to do that because they're nuclear power.
No, we're not. Right.
And also because before they would ever be able to touch us or do anything negative to us, they would be doing this to South Korea, which is our ally over there. But I think that China does not want an American ally sharing the same border with them for multiple reasons, and that's why North Korea being there as a buffer state between South Korea and China is they want to keep that regime intact. But at the same time, they must be giving China headaches because China doesn't want every time North Korea does something like this where they have a nuclear test and they're shooting stuff that's pointing in the direction of Japan. Obviously, they didn't hit Japan or trying to hit Japan, but just having these nuclear tests, all that's going to do is force the United States to build up our defenses and the defenses of our allies in that region. Mm-hmm. So now you're going to have an arms build up to try to protect our allies in that region from a rogue nation in North Korea, but that means also that we have a military buildup in the same neighborhood as China, and China doesn't want that. So you would think that the Chinese would tell the North Korean leader, just quit, just chill. But
yeah, well, you can't tell Kim Jong-il, whatever his name is, anything.
Yeah.
That guy is just flying off at the handle. But I guess he has a warhead that can reach the United States, so that's the big concern. Now we know he's got nuclear capability,
mm-hmm.
and we know he can reach us with a warhead. So So you're absolutely right. We've got to tighten up things in that area.
And this is one reason why Iran, they saw what happened to Iraq, and Iran sees how we're treating North Korea. This is why they want a nuclear weapon so badly.
We do treat countries that have nuclear capability with more respect.
Absolutely. So I do believe that. And
we're not going to invade North Korea.
We're not going to invade North Korea.
Touch
but if we went after them, we would have to obliterate them because there's no other way. Because if we tried to bomb them, they're going to try to go the nuclear option against us. So
and South Korea.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just.
So you have this, I think foreign countries look at look at the United States as the bully in the room, right? So the United States has the largest bat possible, right? So they figured out a way to make this bat out of hardwood, and there's hardwood all over the world, but they don't want anyone else to make a bat because if they do, then they'll no longer have the largest bat in the world, and I can understand how other countries will say, "Listen, you can't tell me what to do," especially if they're not a part of NAFTA, or NATO. Or NATO.
Yeah.
You can't really dictate what another country can do.
Yeah, but we also understand the rationale behind not wanting Iran to have, and it's not so much Iran is an ancient country, an ancient culture, and they're pretty sophisticated over there, and I understand them wanting nuclear weapons because they want to feel more secure in their region and have superiority amongst their neighboring countries. But the problem that I believe the number one problem with Iran getting nuclear weapons is not Iran, but starting a arms race in the Middle East, which is for the last 50 plus years has been the most unstable region on the planet.
Yeah, we can't have that.
And they have too many non-state actors. They have Hezbollah, they have Hamas, they have now they have ISIS. They have so many quasi-military governmental groups outside of the regular state actors that if you started a arms race in the Middle East, it's no telling who would end up with a nuclear bomb. So it's best not to let any of them have it.
Right.
Because if Iran gets it, then all of a sudden, then you're gonna know Saudi Arabia is gonna want to get it.
Right.
Then Oman or Jordan was gonna want to get it. And then you get all these crazy, paramilitary splinter governmental groups that want to get it, and then before you know it, it falls into the wrong hands, and we have Armageddon right there.
Right.
So,
and then also, the plutonium is the key to a nuclear bomb, and so that can be stolen.
Mm-hmm.
It could be from a country who doesn't have the security to guard it and keep it safe. Because if it gets into the wrong hands, you can create a nuclear bomb out of something the size of a briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is for the listening and viewing audience. This is one of the reasons why that arms deal with Iran is so crucial. It's so crucial. Now, some neocons and some people just think that it was crazy for us to strike that deal with Iran. Let's just say, for whatever reason, that we decided to go and just, instead of striking the deal, to go and bomb Iran. They said we're going to bomb them. So now we are having another war in the Middle East once again. Also, Iran is not Iraq. Iran is a much bigger, much more powerful country than Iraq was. So if Iraq gave us those types of problems, what would Iran do? And don't think we won't have to then put boots on the ground. Also,
you'll be fighting two wars. You'll be fighting Iran, and you'll be fighting terrorism. Because Iran will assist the terrorists in getting here. To hit us from the backside.
Yeah, and so there's so many things that could go wrong with that, and people think that, so if we would have to go to war with them, we would have to exhaust all measures, and there's no way in the world, after what we did in Iraq, that the rest of the world would support us if we went into Iran and just started attacking them without first and foremost trying all of the diplomatic options. So if we exhaust all of our diplomatic options, and then after we've done everything and they continue to progress towards a nuclear war, then the world can say, okay, you tried everything. You got to do what you got to do. But if we don't exhaust these things and just go in first and have another Iraq on our hands, are we going to have any allies other than Israel probably, and maybe the UK? Maybe the UK.
Well,
that will come in behind us. I just don't know.
Well, how when we invaded Iraq, we had all of our ducks in a row. Weapons of mass destruction. They blamed all these things that were occurring and painted a picture for NATO
for the UN.
For the UN to give us the go-ahead to invade the country. So we can create any type of scenario.
Yeah. So, but you see what happens. That's what means that our trust, because of what happened in Iraq, our trust, if we made that type of case again, it leaves a lot to be desired. So that means that in this case, we really don't have much of an option but to explore and exhaust a diplomatic route before we even thought about doing
That's
something.
always the answer.
I think so. I think there are some cases where you got to do what you have to do, but usually it's a progression, and you have to allow. I think you almost have to assume if you're dealing with state act. Now you're dealing with non-state actors like quote unquote Islamic State or ISIS or some of these other paramilitary groups and these terrorist groups. They don't have the same sort of civil will to survive like a country does. A country has to govern and they act within their own interests. So Iran will act within the interests of Iran, and they want to be there.
Right.
ISIS, they want to end the world, so it may not be any use in trying to negotiate with them because we know they're in it for blood, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't think we're trying to negotiate with those dudes over there.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Hey, really quick before we switch and pivot and go to the next topic, I wanted to throw a quick shout out to Adam Kreef, my brother.
How's Adam doing?
Adam is strong. Adam's a strong dude.
Good.
There's a lot going on. There's these drives. Go to join.hopeforadam.org, and you can go there and get on the bone marrow registry. And it's a really simple process. You just get a cotton swab in your cheek, and then if you are a match, you will be contacted by the registry at some point in the future. And I understand that now when you get a bone marrow transplant, or it's different. They can extract it without. It's not a very painful process like it used to be. It's mostly like a blood transfusion where they just take the blood and somehow they're able to extract it. But this stuff can save lives. Adam's a great friend, a great guy, and his social media is blowing up. They just recently had a video with him and other people supporting him, people like Ron Artest. This is happening globally. I mean, he's his dad, who's like a big brother to me. They're Israeli, and over in Israel is huge. Over in Europe is huge. Over in Germany is huge. I mean, it's going on all over the world. Over in France is huge, and they're having all these donor drives. And so, Adam, we are with you. Stay strong, my brother, and we're gonna find a match for him. So again, go to join.hopeforadam. That's HOPE, the number 4 Adam.org. and join the registry.
All right.
Okay. So I want to, the next thing I want to do, I want to go to a video that I saw and that you sent to me last night.
Oh, okay.
The Shannon Sharpe. Now, this goes along with the whole Colin Kaepernick deal about not standing for the flag.
This is pretty tough. He was upset.
And Shannon Sharpe, who's the NFL Hall of Famer, what did he win a Super Bowl? I think he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think he's got a Super Bowl ring.
He was with Skip Bayless, who's First Take fame, who now has a show on Fox.
The two of them have this show together.
Yeah, and they were discussing the whole Colin Kaepernick deal and the issue of discrepancy and racism and all that stuff came up. And Shannon Sharpe has never really been my guy. But I have the utmost respect for the way he articulated this because it hit the nail right on the head. And we have a brief video clip from that, and I want you to play it for us, Jarvis. Could you play it for us?
Full of fuel, too.
Oh, yeah.
Check this out.
In World War II, there are a lot of African Americans that went to foreign soil to fight. Mm-hmm. They were fighting for freedoms in a foreign land that when they came home, they didn't enjoy themselves. Under that flag, with those veterans. So think about this. You go to Germany and you go overseas and you fight for freedoms of people you have no idea, have nothing in common with. In the very country that you're representing, when you come back to it, you're a second-class citizen.
Correct.
Me,
Agreed.
I have a very unique perspective, Skip.
Okay.
I'm from rural South Georgia.
You are.
I'm 48 years old, Skip. And if I don't tell you my religion, you can't guess it. If I don't tell you my mom's name, you couldn't guess it. I was dirt poor, 1,000 square feet, 10 people sometime, cement floors, tin roof. I'm well off now. The one thing that I've been for 48 years is black. That's what you see. You don't see my religion. You don't see my orientation. You don't know my political affiliation. But you see this. I see people get on shows and the officers say non-compliance. Well, I saw a guy in Florida, a white guy, stab 2 people, kill him, stabbed another guy, was eating the guy's face. Female officer tased him. They have to wait 10, 15 minutes, and they take him alive. I see a guy selling CDs, and he's killed. I see a guy selling loose leaf cigarettes, and he's killed. See, that's what gets us up in arms.
I should.
Because you say non-compliance is a death sentence. If a man is gnawing a man's face after he's killed 2 people, we see what happened in Colorado. The guy killed 12, and they take him alive. We see what happened in Charleston. 9 parishioners. He drives. Not only do they take him alive, they take him by Burger King because he's hungry. So you think we're supposed to be okay with this?
No.
In what system?
How do we?
Yeah, man.
Whoa.
I'm telling you, he was on fire.
Whoa.
On fire. The brand new show, too. I wonder if they're going to be on next week.
Yeah, you guys have to check. I think the name of the show is called Undisputed. It's on Fox. Yeah, I mean, whoa.
That's the real. He's dropping science.
These are the things that we speak about. And again, these are uncomfortable topics that need to be brought up from time to time. And our show is in regards to what we try to cover. We try to cover politics for those people who don't really cover politics, and we kind of break it down to see how it affects your life. And then we also cover current events that also affect your life. And this is something that it affects all of our lives because it shows us where we need improvement.
Where we need improvement. And Colin Kaepernick, hats off to you once again, my friend. And people need to understand that he is protesting to bring attention to this issue. And whether or not you agree with him, you shouldn't be running out and burning his jerseys. Incidentally, his jersey is fastly becoming the #1 selling jersey in the NFL right now, and that's because folks are getting out there and supporting him. I'm going to get a jersey and hang it here in the studio for next week. But please remember, he is not degrading the military or anyone who has served in the military. It's got nothing to do with it. It's not a black and white issue. But however, he is drawing attention to the issue. So, folks, you really have to understand and realize that the military went out there to fight for the right to protest. So that's why we send our military troops overseas and fight wars for democracy and freedom and the right of free speech, and that's exactly what Colin Kaepernick is exercising right now.
Yeah, well, what do you hit the nail on the head? We're not going to ponder on that topic today, but that was something that was well worth bringing up because that video was powerful because what he did is that he articulated for those who can't understand why there's so much rage, why there is a Black Lives Matter, why there's such an uproar over it. It's because he just broke it down. You know, you got a guy selling loose leaf cigarettes selling loosies and gets choked to death. And they said because he was not compliant had he only done this. And then on the other end, you have guys that are committing mass murder and they're tasing them, trying to take them alive. And it's right there in your face and you can't deny it. And I think that some people just.
And that kid went in there and shot those parishioners.
He went in and shot the parishioners.
And they took him to Burger King.
They took him to Burger King.
Jail.
Yeah, and we both know if that was
the other way around.
No, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. So and not to say an eye for an eye because
that's not what we're saying.
Yeah, it's not what we're saying at all. But we just need to understand that the grievances they're not without merit, you know, and we have to just face it and fix it. Face it and fix it. That's what we should do in our countries. Face it.
It's not going to happen overnight, but it does need to happen.
Exactly. So. Right now, real quick, are we going to do Word to Your Mother today?
We could do Word to Your Mother. Word to Your Mother. Yep. All right. For those of you who are not familiar with Word to Your Mother, this is a game we play here at Focus with Ron Frierson. Ron tends to be quite the wordsmith, so I've got 5 words I'm going to run by him, and he's going to spell them and give me the definition. And so the first word, and if he gets it right, he will get a
word to your mother.
You said I have to
If
spell
he
it
gets
again?
it wrong, he'll get
If
a.
I don't know the word, how can I spell it?
I'll spell it. I'll spell the word for you.
Jarvis, like I said, let me
Stop you complaining already. See, this is what happens. He wants to change the rules every time we get ready to play the game. Okay, are you ready? First word, I'll spell it for you. D-Y-S-T-O-P-I-A. Everyone out there in Radio Land, D-Y-S-T-O-P-I-A.
Dystopia. I don't have any idea what that means.
Really?
I just don't. Is it something like a disease or something? I really
Can you pronounce it?
Dystopia.
Dystopia.
Yeah.
An imagined place or state in which everything is unpleasant or bad, typically a totalitarian or environmental.
Woody's having a seizure again. Woody's having a seizure again. There he is. Get him popsicle stick. Don't let him swallow his tongue.
Oh, there we go.
All right. So I didn't know that one.
Yeah. So you got the buzz, right? All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Z-E-I-T-G-E-I-S-T.
Zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist. I know what that is, though. Zeitgeist. And
What
it's
is
hard for
zeitgeist?
me to explain it, but zeitgeist is like
You better try hard.
It's like a mood or feeling, something that identifies a period in time. Like when you think of the '60s and the Flower Child, the zeitgeist. It's like the mood. Is that?
That's good. Yep. Definition.
Word to your mother.
Spirit or mood of a particular period.
Boom.
Good job. I didn't think you were gonna get that one.
Smart.
Zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist.
You didn't think? Did you think he was gonna get that one, Jarvis? No. I didn't either.
Man,
Okay. D-I-C-K-E-N-S-I-A-N.
Spell that again.
Dick. E-N-S-I-A-N.
Leave it to Woody.
D-I-C-K.
That's the joke of the day. That's Dickensian, man.
Dickensian.
Yeah. You ever hear of the author Charles Dickens?
Yeah.
The Tale of Two Cities.
Of course,
It's
I
the
have.
best of times, the worst of times. Oliver Twist. Dickensian is primarily it relates to his books, like talking about times where there was distinct poor people and the experiences of the poor.
Dickensian time.
Yeah, Dickensian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that is.
Reminiscent of the novels
Exactly.
of Charles Dickens, especially in suggesting the poor social conditions or.
Give it.
Word
Hey,
to your mother.
we need
Good
to
job.
stretch that out. We need to what's it called, screw it and chop it, so it comes out slow. Because whenever I get that buzzer, it seems like that buzzer lasts forever. But
He likes to
whenever I
keep
get
his
it
finger
right,
on that buzzer.
Yeah.
Okay, antebellum. I'm sorry, A-N-T-E-B-E.
Antebellum.
Okay, antebellum.
Yeah, it's like the South. The antebellum South is usually talking about the South, like back during slavery and before. Like antebellum South was like Gone with the Wind. That time of the South before the Civil War, like they.
That's an example of antebellum. Yeah, but it's an occurring or existing before a particular war. So especially the American Civil War.
Boom.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Word to your mother.
Word to your mother.
Word to your mother.
You make me sick, man.
Yeah.
Okay, B-A-N-A-L. B-A-N-A-L.
Banal.
Banal.
I don't know it. What is it?
You don't know banal? Yeah, that was a good one. Do that again, man. I like this. So lacking in originality as to be obvious and boring.
No, having a conversation with you.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, that was a setup. Jarvis, you thought it was a setup.
Ooh, I should get a.
That was a lot.
Now that's the new joke of the day.
Yeah, we don't like that
Woo.
joke.
Yeah.
We don't like that joke.
So listen, that's it, man.
He's got what, 3 out of 5. Word to your mother.
All right, yeah. So I'm still. That's pretty good. I go. What I get 3 out of 5 today.
3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 today. That's not bad.
Okay.
I think that's about average. About average.
I usually get like 4 or 5 out of 5, mostly, don't I?
Nope, you don't.
Hey, so the next couple of days, well, I guess Sunday, is going to be the 15th anniversary of September 11th.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And,
can you believe that's 15 years?
15 years.
And I'm sure everyone can remember what they were doing the day they heard about either the World Trade Center or the Pentagon. You know, one of those.
Yeah, I want to give you guys a chance. If you want to call in, you can give us a call at 323-843-2826.
Tell us what you were doing that day. Make it interesting, though.
Okay.
Don't tell us you were in the bathroom.
323-843-2826. No, actually, I've been traveling a lot for business, and at the time, I had a client I was working with called PacTac Advisors, and we did some work for bioscience companies in the Pacific Rim. But I would travel to New York quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. You were in New York?
No, I used to travel there, and my parents knew I would travel there. So this one morning, I'm here in L.A., and I'm in bed asleep, and it was early in the morning. And my mother called me, and she told me, like, a plane had crashed. Where are you? I was like, I'm at home. I'm in L.A. And so I turned on the TV, and while me and my mom were speaking on the phone, the second plane hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And it just woke me up.
Right, something's going down.
And I remember I just, sat up in the bed and was looking at it. And then you just kind of knew, like, this is really eerie.
Yeah, I thought the world was coming to an end.
And I remember my mom and my grandmother both was like, go to the grocery store, buy all the food, don't leave the house the rest of the day. So it was crazy. That was a very surreal time.
It was. It absolutely was.
Yeah.
And I remember, I remember where I was at home, actually. I got a call from my buddy Mark Brogdon. He said, hey, man, turn on the television right now. Mm-hmm. And then we both silent on the phone with the phone to our heads, just watch. Oh my God,
Yeah.
So and then I went back to I had a condo in Jersey, West New York, New Jersey, and I could look out my window and see the Twin Towers. And just when I went back and they weren't there, that kind of really hit home for me.
Yeah, it was like, and then we remember the visuals of that day as the things progressed. I mean, not just the sudden impact, which was, I think, it was definitely shocking to all of us, the sudden impact of the planes, especially the second plane. Because remember the first plane, people was wondering whether or not it was an accident.
Yeah, didn't see the first plane for the most part.
But yeah, exactly. But then when that second plane hit, you knew something was up. And then just the turmoil and the chaos afterwards. And
then the updates, United flight.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was just a very, very, but you know what? That affected us. There's our country before 9/11. In fact, there's the world before 9/11. There's the world after 9/11. Yeah. And I'm wondering, not to equate the two, but in a way, I guess I am equating the two. Is what happened in Pearl Harbor, does it compare?
I guess so. There's probably some similarities because the nation was taken by surprise, and we certainly were taken by surprise.
Yeah.
But the effect of killing so many people in one blow.
And if you think about it, it's because of the modern media and cameras everywhere. When it happened at Pearl Harbor, we didn't have it in the media capital of the world, where there's so many cameras and so many things like that. I mean, I don't think any of us saw. I wasn't alive then, but I don't think we saw to that scale and that scope where we had mass media seeing
devastation,
what happened. And it was just
play by play.
Yeah, it was incredible, and the aftermath of that. I mean,
and then the buildings come down.
Without 9/11, would there have been an Iraq war? I don't know. Maybe not. Without a 9/11.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we were and America was really behind. We wanted to retaliate and
I was all with going to Afghanistan. I was all for, at that time, I was so upset. I remember, and I could be completely honest, I mean, seeing that, and it's like, if you have to not have a heart if you didn't tear up, and because just seeing that and the devastation and the people and the friends I have in New York, it was crazy. So, but I was all for going to Afghanistan. I was like, make Afghanistan the 51st state of the Union. Get them, go and get them.
Yeah.
And at the time, obviously, I was a lot younger, and I didn't really realize how far out of the loop going into Iraq was. So at the time, because I wasn't, really knowledgeable about the subject, I didn't know that Iraq didn't have anything to do with it. It didn't make sense. But
and then we went in and bombed a whole nation, whole country. I mean, if you, for example, the guy in Oklahoma that blew up the building in Oklahoma. Right.
Yeah.
What's his
Timothy
name?
McVeigh.
Timothy McVeigh.
I remember that.
So from the outside looking in, if that could be, if that happened, someone from another country did that, and we went back and bombed the country because this one this one player effectively killed all of these people. So when we went to Afghanistan, of course, a lot of innocent people died. I mean, there's just war is just not good for anyone.
Exactly.
We
have a caller. Thank you for calling. Can I have your name and the city you're calling in from, please?
Hi, it's Kay from Indianapolis. How are you?
Hi, Kay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing pretty well. Hey.
Happy Friday to you.
Oh, happy Friday to you. You guys, I hope you're going to have a great weekend ahead. I was giving you a call because I wanted to talk about 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that day so clearly. At the time, I was a stockbroker for Charles Schwab.
Okay.
And I was
York?
working in the tower, in the Chase Tower downtown in Indianapolis. And I remember that I was in my office, and then someone yelled out, "Hey, some idiot pilot just hit one of the towers." And so we all gathered around the television, and we were like, "Oh my God, what was wrong with that pilot?" Like, we were just thinking that something was wrong with the pilot. And then when the second one hit, it was just kind of like my stomach just, oh my God, something's wrong.
Wow.
Like, this is not normal. And I remember I just wanted to get home to my family.
Exactly.
And I just wanted to get home. And the fact that I was in a tower myself, even though it was so far away, I was in a financial building, and I just wanted to get out of there. I remember that day so clearly.
Wow.
And Kay,
thanks for sharing that.
Thanks for sharing that with us. And I'm sure all of us can really relate to wanting to feel secure, because it was so much confusion in the air, and everybody, literally in the air. I mean, no one knew what was going to happen next. They had to ground all the flights, and then remember what happened at the Pentagon, and then what happened in Pennsylvania with the other plane that the passengers took down. It was just so much. It was so chaotic, and I'm not going to hold you on the line with this, Kay, but I wanted to know from your perspective. I think that event also painted a new picture of hate, meaning this: since then, Muslim Americans, especially Muslim Americans from the Middle East, have been looked at differently. Do you agree?
I totally agree, yes.
Yeah. That was
Okay, thank you so much for calling, and have a pleasant weekend, and continue to listen. We really appreciate you.
Thanks, Kay.
Thanks, no problem. Love listening. Thanks, you guys. You have a great weekend.
Same to you. Thank you.
Yeah, that was definitely a pivotal time against, as far as Muslims were concerned, Muslim Americans.
And they've been here for hundreds of years.
Yeah, hundreds of years.
I can't remember exactly, but it's one of our founding documents where they were talking about Jews and Gentiles, but they're also talking about Mohammedans. And Mohammedans are Muslim, but they call them Mohammedans. This is one of our founding documents. So they've been here in our country for hundreds of years since the beginning.
Which document was that? Do you remember?
I can't remember. I want to say it was somewhere in either I can't remember, but I would like to look it up, and because I remember President Obama referring to it as well. But one of our former documents has the term of Mohammedans saying they're no part of the collective.
Right.
And but that's one group and segment of our population that since then has been somewhat demonized. And I'm going to say somewhat demonized, but they have been
certainly
demonized.
have been demonized,
Yeah, but when we spoke about Timothy McVeigh, or go back to Charles Manson,
right,
or go back to some of the other mass shootings, and we never demonized the entire ethnicity of that particular nuthead. But when it comes to this, we did that.
Y'all took them all alive, too.
But it was a very strange mix of religion and terror, and that we haven't seen before manifest itself on our soil like that before. So it was a strange mixture. So I mean, it's not good that we made that jump, but it's understandable. Okay. Hey, we got 5 minutes left. But before I get off, I have a couple of my sponsors I need to give a shout out to, one of which is my primary sponsor, Javago Watches. I had to get it up here so you guys can see the big face watch to go on my big head.
Beautiful watch, Javago.
Fine, decorative watches, premium quality, men's and women's fashions, Javago Watches. Go to www.javagowatches.com.
Javago.
You should check them out. I need to get me a new one. I'm trying to figure out which one I want. I'm not one for a whole lot of bling, but maybe I need to get a bling because I'm here on the radio and I wanted to pop through your screen if you happen to be watching us through Facebook.
Yeah.
So I may get something that's real gaudy next time.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah, you want one Woody?
Yeah.
You have to see about hooking up Woody too.
Hook
So go to
a brother up.
www.javagowatches.com. Check out their styles. And if you go to Amazon, you can get them for a discount. And also Nanobright.
Nanobright. That's incredible.
Yeah,
stuff.
Nanobright is moving off the shelves quick. Nanobright is this. It has organic ingredients. It's basically a skin cream that is almost like vitamins for your skin.
Right.
If you're health nuts like me and Woody, you take your vitamins in the morning.
Yes.
And Woody's getting older, so he has to take his baby aspirin too.
You know.
So it's all good. But when you take it, this is like vitamins for your skin, and it helps heal your skin. It helps brighten the complexion, not whiten, but brighten the complexion, because all of the sun damage, regardless of your skin tone, all of the sun damage, it helps reverse the sun damage. It helps reduce aging spots. If you have scars and stuff, it helps to even out the entirety of your skin tone.
It only takes about 3 weeks too, right?
3 to 4 weeks, but you have to do it twice a day.
Yeah, because Ron was ugly 3 weeks ago.
I was so ugly 3 weeks ago.
Yes, you were.
Now I'm just a little ugly.
Definitely.
And in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be handsome. And by February 2017, I'm going to be handsome.
You better bathe in it then.
Nanobright. Yeah, I'm going to bathe in Nanobright.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to slide in this chair. Bright. There you go. So go to you don't have to say www on this one. Just go to nanobright.com, NANOBRYTE.com, nanobright.com. Use the promo code SKIN and you'll get $10 off. And I strongly suggest you get 2 bottles of it, because the bottles are pretty small. And after you see the effects of the first bottle, especially since you have to use it twice a day, then you're going to wish you had a second one right there. So you should do that. So, guys, I wanted to say something else. I can't remember. Say what?
Wells Fargo.
Oh, yeah, really quick. Wells Fargo, that's what you get. Wells Fargo was gypping people.
What happened? What happened?
Hey, we have time to play that clip? Play that clip for us.
What happened? 'Cause Wells Fargo did me wrong. So
Big headline this morning. Wells Fargo fined nearly $200 million for setting up millions of fake accounts. Rebecca Jarvis has the details. She joins us with all that. So tell us what happened here, Rebecca.
Good morning, Robin. This is truly outrageous. Thousands of Wells Fargo employees at bank branches across the country opened millions of illegal accounts, and they did it by using real customer accounts, real customer money, and seeding those new accounts with that money. They covered their tracks up by creating fake email addresses, phony PIN numbers, and they did all of this over the course of 5 years and managed to get away with it for 5 years straight. 5,300 Wells Fargo employees have now been fired as a result. They paid that record penalty, $185 million.
Go ahead, Karen. You get the gist of it.
I'm telling.
This is why Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, even to a certain extent Donald Trump,
are out of control.
Doing well. This is why. It's because the way that many in corporate America have just gone off the rails. This is what Bernie Sanders was talking about.
Yeah, we've got to have some
This
regulation.
is what Elizabeth Warren was talking about.
Yeah.
And that's a shame.
Yeah.
So, but if you, on the good side, if you need a job, and we all need jobs, they have 5,300 openings at Wells Fargo now because they just fired a whole lot of people. So I may have to go in and put in an application.
There you go.
So, guys, listen, I wanted you guys to check that out, read up on that, because that's the type of stuff that affects you,
Right.
And I'd like to thanks to all of our viewers on Facebook.
Yes, thank you.
Our viewers through YouTube, our viewers through Stitcher, our viewers on iTunes that download our podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
and we
guys.
appreciate your time. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Don't drink and drive.
All right. Peace out.
If you do,
In the future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.